All right, let's get into it. In this explainer, we're going to crack the code on all the essential digital devices you absolutely need to know for your IGCSE ICT exam. You know, the world of tech is massive, right? But for your exam, it's not enough to just name a bunch of gadgets. You've got to understand how they all fit together. So that's what we're going to do. We'll build a kind of mental map to sort out everything from giant, room-sized computers all the way down to the phone in your hand. And I mean, the scale here is just, wow, it's mind-boggling. Look at this. On one side, you've got these colossal mainframe computers, the kind of thing that powers massive companies. And then, on the complete other end of the spectrum, you have these tiny single-board computers like a Raspberry Pi. I mean, it's a full-on computer that can literally fit in the palm of your hand. Okay, so here's the game plan. We're going to walk through this whole spectrum of devices, starting with personal computers, then mobile stuff, and even home entertainment. And while we do that, we'll look at this really important idea called convergence, basically how all these devices are starting to merge. And stick with me, because at the end, I'll give you a super simple way to use all this knowledge to absolutely nail your exam questions. All right, first up, personal computers. You know them, you love them, PCs. These are the classic devices you see in pretty much every home and office. So PCs basically come in two main flavors. First, you've got your desktops. These are the powerhouses, right? Super customizable, perfect for a permanent setup. And then you have laptops, which take all that awesome power and cram it into a portable package you can just pick up and go with. And this right here leads us to a total classic exam question. They love to ask you to compare these two. What they're really checking is if you get the basic trade-offs. So, what are the big advantages of picking a laptop over a desktop? Okay, the two magic words here are portability and power. It's really that simple. Number one, laptops are built to be portable. You can carry them anywhere. Number two, they have a built-in battery so you're not stuck hunting for a wall outlet. Boom, that's it. Two super easy points and 2 marks in the bag. All right, let's shrink things down a bit. We've gone from the desk to the lap. Now let's talk about the devices that are truly mobile, the ones that go with us everywhere, in our pockets and backpacks. So yeah, smartphones and tablets, I mean, they're way more than just phones these days, right? They are genuinely powerful computers that fit in your hand. You've got constant internet, an app for basically anything you can think of, and super easy to use touchscreens. They've pretty much become our do-everything tool for, well, everything. But again, let's think like an examiner. They're not just going to ask you, what's a smartphone? They'll dig a little deeper. They might ask you to explain the purpose of one specific part, like, say, that tiny microphone that's built right in. And see, this is a perfect example of that whole portability thing. Because the microphone is built in, you can make a call, use a voice command, whatever, instantly. You don't need to find and plug in an external mic. It's all about that immediate grab-and-go usefulness. Okay, from work and communication, let's shift gears to entertainment. We're talking about the tech in your living room, your TV, your games console. And just like everything else, these have gotten incredibly smart and powerful over the years. When you talk about modern TVs, the big word is resolution. And all that really means is how many tiny little dots, or pixels, are used to create the picture. The rule is simple. The more pixels you can cram in, like with 4K or even 8K screens, the sharper and more crazy detailed the image is going to be. And of course, all those amazing high-def graphics, they take up a ton of space. This leads us right into another very common type of exam question. You see it with modern games consoles. Why do they still use Blu-ray discs? The answer is one word: capacity. A regular old DVD, that holds maybe 5 gigabytes. But modern games, they are gigantic. We're talking huge files for graphics and game worlds. A dual-layer Blu-ray, on the other hand, can hold up to 50 gigabytes. So for those massive blockbuster games, it's really the only option if you're buying a physical copy. Okay, now for a really key idea, something that kind of ties all of this together. You see, as tech gets better, devices don't just improve. They start to steal features from each other. The lines between them get really, really blurry. And there's a name for this. It's called convergence. It's just a fancy term for when different technologies all merge together into one single gadget. Think about your smartphone. I mean, it is the perfect example of convergence. It started as a phone, right? But then it absorbed a camera, a music player, a GPS navigator, a little gaming device. All of these separate things now in one pocket-sized package. So, because of convergence, we now have what examiners call a multifunctional device. That's another keyword you'll want to remember. It just means one device that does the job of many.
Okay, so we've looked at the different devices, their features, and this big idea of convergence. But the real question is, how do you take all this information and actually turn it into exam marks? Well, I've got a simple 4-step strategy for you. So when you get a question, first, just identify the device they're asking about. Second, think about its main purpose or a key feature. Third, compare it to something else in your head. And last, step 4, explain why that difference is a good thing or a bad thing. See? This isn't about just listing facts. It's about showing the examiner you can actually think about the technology.
So, at the end of the day, it's not about memorizing a giant list of devices. It's about understanding the why. Why does a feature exist? What are the trade-offs? And, to leave you with something to think about, try applying that 4-step framework to a tougher question, like this one about smart cars. How would you discuss the pros and cons of all those sensors? It's a great example of how these basic ideas we've talked about apply to the really complex tech that's literally shaping our future.